Hi everyone and welcome back to the final episode of the Gladiator series. And that right there is the straw that broke the camel's back. So in this episode, we're throwing on this longsword, which isn't amazing, but it'll do a lot better than the stuff we've been using recently. Then some leather gloves, and all the gear we got from that rogue early on in this series. This episode's going to be me trying to regain some of that confidence I lost, and basically add to our kill total for the first time in a long time, rather than consistently adding to our death totals. So with the change in weapon, we're going to have to change from dual wield, throwing on projectile resistance. We do add defensive mastery, even though I doubt I'll be attempting to learn how to riposte for the first time in this playtest. We grab some potions for the first time in this series, a nice kettle hat, and some leather leggings just to round out some of the cheap armor we're running. The big ticket item is going to be that longsword in combination with Adrenaline Rush. As I proved to you guys, you don't even need to riposte. You just simply need to swing the thing, and it does pretty serious damage, especially in 1v1 situations you get into in Goblin Caves. And this is probably one of the first times I've ran the weapon, so it's kind of going to be a learning experience all over again. Early on in this first game, we get a guy underneath us in one of my favorite rooms, especially when you're running weapon mastery in the longbow. And this could be a good chance for us to finally test out this longsword. As we tag him with an arrow, he dodges our second arrow and tries to make up the distance, and I think this is a fighter, so this will be a straight 1v1. Catch him through the shield. They have Adrenaline Rush running, and the swing speed is just so fast. Like, there's just no way you cannot do, 200 damage if you're using Adrenaline Rush. The second hit that cleaves right at headshot level is almost the perfect swing. It always hits well for me, and I love being able to step to the right and cleave to the left. We hear an early portal, and then we also hear a guy reloading his crossbow, so we're gearing up for a fight.
Whoa. None of that. I don't want to fight.
I hear two players here, so it's kind of a bad idea to fight these guys.
Good, man.
And I don't want this series to end.
Don't shoot.
Whoa.
Don't have to fight. I don't.
So, how is that Viking sword anyway?
Honestly, I don't really like it that much. It swings a little too slow for my liking.
Yeah, my exact thoughts. It's like similar damage to an arming sword, but just chopped slower. I don't get it.
Yeah, it does. It has that upward swing though, which is, I guess, kind of nice.
Upward swing. So it has a secondary swing?
Well, when you swing it, it
Oh,
almost
yeah.
swings down.
I know what you mean.
It's pretty.
Like a chop. Yeah.
Yeah.
So after this encounter, we actually just piece out of there because I don't want to get caught fighting a team again. That guy actually ended up having a purple Viking sword, and I think a legendary chest plate. Yeah, he was pretty stacked. That would have been a difficult fight. If we had landed that first swing on the head, I might have just kept going for it. But even his teammate was pretty heavily geared. So we get some pretty decent loot off that game, and quickly jump into another one. Swinging this longsword hopefully to success once more. You see right off the hop, we got a rogue kind of prancing around, jumping from platform to platform, which is a scary sight, because they can literally juke in and out and throw knives at you and proc rupture. And this guy does not care one bit about mobs, he's just trying to create chaos. I would love to have a winless in this situation and just one-shot him. It'd be so hilarious. Just almost impossible to land that shot. So we get in a duel with this guy. He hits us with a knife, which doesn't do a lot thanks to our armor. And then all the mobs he aggroed are now choosing me as their primary target, which is almost disaster as you're trying to reach and swing and not get hit by the poison. We're forced to drink a potion here because I expect him to come back, and he does, hitting us with rupture. Prancing around, this becomes one of the most frustrating situations I've ever been a part of, as he aggroes more mobs into our direction. Just missing the flying shot. It's just incredible that it's he can just prance that quickly. And now we're like glitching out on some mobs, there's just so many of them. We're absolutely cornered, and this guy's plan's working super effectively. I'm getting absolutely destroyed. Feeling really awful in this situation. I honestly thought this would be the worst possible way I could end this series. Stuck fighting mobs as a rogue dances around me. We take a step back to regain some of our composure, And a little bit of HP with these potions. I see a potion on the wall, but I'm going to clear these mobs. Once again, getting used to the spacing on the longsword, killing those last couple goblins. I then decide, the hell with it. Fighting this rogue has been so damn frustrating. There's no way I'm dying here. I'm taking another potion from the wall, breaking one of the rules I set for myself, which is only looting players. Don't care, completely over it. This rogue is just the most maddening experience I've ever had. We wait for our HP to trickle back slowly and cautiously scan around for this guy, as he could be hidden anywhere, waiting to throw a dagger and proc that rupture hit one more time. And truthfully, we're at some pretty low HP numbers. We hear some footsteps, so we assume he's close. And yeah, he's coming back to kind of cause more problems. I think his plan is actually aggro more mobs. There's just simply no way to hit this guy with that longbow. We're gonna rest to get any little bit of HP we can, as we hear another guy to our close right pushing the doorway. So we're about to be sandwiched. Sounds like he's reloading a bow, so it could be a ranger, which isn't a horrible thing to deal with as a fighter when you have projectile resistance and that sprint ability. The devilish little rogue comes back, and we're into this game again of him juking out my attacks as he gracefully flies through the air. We also see a bard close by, which just makes this a little more crowded than I'd like. He gets onto this platform, we're hoping we can just land a hit. And then he does us the honors of sacrificing himself into the floor spikes, which I'm completely okay with. And now I'm counting that as a kill, because that was one of the most frustrating, most ridiculous situations I've ever been in. Now to add to this, we have a bard who's trying to basically keep us from being able to attack with chaotic discord and the other song he has, which makes it so you can't actually fight back, as he drags 10 or 15 goblins into our path. So we chase him off, not wanting to get ourselves in another situation where we're surrounded by 4 or 5 goblins. And finally, we have a bit of a breather. We see a guy in the distance, and maybe we can land some hits before we get there. As we tag that ranger a couple times, this bard comes back into our picture. I'd love to just get a kill with the longbow and not have to deal with all this chaos this bard's causing. So we push this ranger, hoping to finish this one quickly. 2 hits with the longsword, and that pretty much does it. Getting our kills now to 35. Mr. Bard comes in, trying to be annoying. Once again, dragging a whole pile of mobs into our direction. Now, I'd love nothing more than to just finish this guy off with a couple swings of the longsword, but he's keeping just out of distance, and we're at half HP. We're now forced to go through the same door together, as he's got himself trapped, and it works out perfectly in our favor. But for some reason, my longsword decided it wanted to block. And sometimes my right swing gets stuck on in this game. Don't know if that happens to you guys. Makes this fight take a little longer than I would like. Finishing off that bard, we get our kills now up to 36, as we slowly climb our way back to a decent KDA. I'm now hoping for just a little bit of a break here, so I can pot up, get some of my health back, and then start fighting again. So far, this gear has been exceptional. I mean, we would not have survived nearly as long. Even that first 1v1 in the first game against a fighter with average gear and a falchion and shield. I don't think my dual sword starter setup would have had a very fun time. The Adrenaline Rush skill on top of the swing pattern of the longsword makes it just so effective and close in a 1v1. A lot of people say that you can be stuffed easily and you're losing damage as they get close to you. But if you space to the right, you almost always land a perfect headshot cleave. We have one more guy underneath us, so we reload our bow, pot up, as we expect him to pressure us. He does the little friendly dance, but we're not really in a friendly mood here, so we start launching arrows in his direction. Checking to see how many arrows we have left. See him making his way to the far door, which is actually an area we're probably going to be heading to. I absolutely love that upper hallway into those open rooms, which gives you the option to come back down in case you have a portal. Once again, we pot up. We hear a portal, however, so we could be too late. Grabbing our arrows as we're running low. He comes out swinging, so we pressure him, hitting him once. And unfortunately, we clanged that second hit off the wall. I bet that would have been a really close fight, or seriously would have just destroyed that guy once I hit Adrenaline Rush. Unfortunately, we don't get the kill. But we do get a portal and a way out of here, which means we'll probably get to try this again. Seeing my inventory and seeing how most of the lobby's already dead, we take the portal and escape with our longsword in hand for another situation where I hope we can increase our kill total again. So for the first time in quite a long time, we actually ended up surviving 2 rounds in a row and end up, you know, not losing any fights. So seeing how we're now finally level 15, we throw on our final perk, which was combo attack, seeing how it benefits the Adrenaline Rush skill so well. Even with just a longsword, those 3 hits aren't terribly slow. So now we're finally armed with our full setup. We have a good sword, some good gear, and some really good perks across the board, 1 through 4. This is it. This is the finale. As we finally get to try out some of the gear we've worked so hard for, and to fight back against the players who were destroying me again and again with those beginner setups I was trying to run with this Gladiator. Thanks to the fans and everyone else, we now have our Gladiator in a situation where he's capable of wielding some of the best gear and 1v1ing against some really good players. I mean, I say some of the best gear. Truthfully, this gear is just kind of average at best. But even the jump from really little gear to no gear to average gear is huge. The damage you can get off a blue longsword or a blue weapon, just across the board, it's exceptional. It's like a huge power spike from one weapon. Seeing a player across this opening, we start throwing some arrows at him as well, hoping to add to our kill totals once again. We land one on him as he ducks behind that door, and it's kind of our chance now to push this situation. Jump through this door, we see no one, which is kind of odd, considering he wouldn't have gotten that far that quickly. We notice that there's no lights on in that little room above, and I just take a quick look to see if he's potentially hiding up there. Sure enough, we have another longsword user attempting to riposte our Adrenaline Rush strikes. And it's just so incredibly fast. I would love to see a riposte Adrenaline Rush matchup where even if he lands a riposte, I wonder, like, am I still just going to out-damage him kind of thing? You know, I would love to see that situation happen. I don't think enough people are using Adrenaline Rush right now for that to be something I've observed or anyone else has really tested. But I'm always curious of the fact, if you're going to riposte, like, if you land it, yes, obviously, with that Defense Expert perk, you're dealing 2 hits so fast. Now, that being said, you can deal those 2 hits just as fast swinging normally, not waiting or trying to bait out a riposte, or even 3 hits before they get a chance to even follow up with riposte. So I don't know. I'd love to see it happen. Love to see in the future what works better. And in my personal opinion, if you're not practiced on the longsword, it's still an amazing weapon without ever using riposte. You can literally just run it, swing it. It has decent swing patterns. It's an easy weapon to learn as you sidestep into that follow-up cleave. And you're already out damaging a lot of the weapons out there. People say that, yes, the DPS is lower than the falchion, but you're never hitting arms nearly as much when you're using the longsword. It's a very nice straight pointed jab on the first swing, headshot cleave on the second swing, and then a downward chop on the third, which, if you're hitting arms, you just need to practice a little more. Falchion, you're trying to hit the tip, and always that long, slow drag motion loves to catch people's arms, especially when they're swinging at you with straight weapons like hatchets and stuff. Their hands get in their face, even rapier, and you always catch arms. It's incredible. So yes, on paper, Falchion does more DPS, but the longsword's just more consistent, in my opinion. We get a guy underneath us. He actually sounded like he was above us at first, but as usual with the sound cues in this game, it's kind of hard to tell whereabouts he's located. We did figure it out, so we're going to push this guy. See if we can get up to 38 or 39 kills. I'd love to get to 40 before this series ends. Hearing him fight someone behind this door. You see we got a spear user. And that means we just go in close. Even with hitting that that third swing off the wall, Adrenaline Rush basically makes it so the recovery time is so fast, we're even able to get another kill off before this fight ends. You'll notice I was affected by the debuff on Adrenaline Rush towards the end of that second fight. But even still, the first couple swings come out so much faster, the recovery time so much faster. I just love that skill. I think it's super underrated considering if I had second wind there, sure, I might have been able to pop it, get a little bit of my health back, tanked maybe a few more swings if I could distance myself. But right there, just going in, getting in their face, cleaving through 2 or 3 opponents, taking absolutely no damage while that guy's trying to wait for his second wind to kind of kick into action. Just works, and I love it. Now we're up to 39 kills in this game, and I'd love to get to 40 as we try to make our way through the final stages of this lobby. So we got a goblin, or not goblin, we got a skeleton champion in our way, making that route a little bit difficult. And it will be a challenge trying to get ourselves up and down towards the end of this game, which is almost the worst situation to be in. As you're surrounded by mobs, there's not a whole lot of routes up and down, and finding those routes when you're kind of stressed out and being pushed by zone isn't always easy. The map isn't that clear in Goblin Caves. You're kind of left to your own knowledge and basically trying things out. We do spot a guy on the other side of this room, which means we get to make use of this longbow once again. Trying to land a few hits, we get kind of distracted by this death beetle. Taking care of it with 2 quick swings. We kind of gauge our situation here a bit, trying to decide which route we want to take. I definitely want to fight this guy because I'm all about getting kills in this run. And I feel like I have the advantage judging by some of the gear I saw on that guy's character. We hear him take a couple steps back, so we quickly switch our focus off the skeleton wizard. And miss a shot, which isn't always a bad thing, considering we hear those steps getting very close. See this guy kind of trapped behind these boards, so we're going to head on through. It's another 1v1 I definitely favor myself in, seeing how we have a decent sword, a decent skill with longsword. Once again, Adrenaline Rush, first hit into the face, sidestep, cleave to the face. Like, he was using mace, so he had to get close, and even still. The spacing and movement you can do with sprint, and the swing speed you have, it's so satisfying. I can't tell you how satisfying those kills right there are. Now we're kind of in a precarious situation, chased by mobs. A little bit scattered, a little bit frantic, because we don't really remember the proper ways to get to the top here. And when you look at the map, all it does is confuse you more as you try to make your way around. And we're just not getting any portals. Like, none. So, starting to look a little bad here. I don't feel like fighting either of these mobs, so we kind of have to lure them into an area where we can be safe. I try to lure out the Goblin Champion, hoping I can use that route around to get up top. He ends up getting stuck in the doorway and doesn't actually go the whole way through, which doesn't really help our situation any. Now right here, I think to myself, I remember there being a stairs where you can break the door and get up top. And I was convinced it was right here beside me on my left. And I got lost, truthfully. Just straight up got lost here, because I thought that stairwell was super close to me on this side. But it's actually on the other side of this room. So now we've got ourselves in a situation where this isn't looking good. Like, not good at all. This guy's hurling fireballs at us. We have a Zweihander, Skelly. We're just basically aggroing more mobs as we jump around here, frantically hoping a portal spawns somewhere close to us. If the portal spawns, we have a chance, but I don't want to be committed to fighting these mobs. I'm going to make a critical error here as we try to jump over the treasure chest, giving them all a free hit. Now this is pretty much it for us. I don't truthfully see a way out of this. This is our series over, essentially. So I thank you all for watching this. We did manage to get to 40 kills, and it was a lot of fun using that longsword, knowing how hard we worked for it.